Hi John, in answer to your question of a few days ago about how to sharpen the chainsaw, I thought I'd save you having to watch those awful YouTube videos where they spend the first 10 minutes telling you about the packaging, and I'm going to do one myself. So in reverse of what I was teaching the team leaders at Morelands on Monday night, we're going to do the what, the how and the why of chainsaw sharpening. So first of all, the what. The cutting edge of the chainsaw has two parts. It's the cutter itself and then the depth gauge, and these two things have to kind of work together. So that is what you're doing. You're sharpening both of those edges, or sharpening the cutter and lowering the depth gauge accordingly. So that's the what. How are we going to do that? Well, there's three ways of doing it. Number one, you can do it yourself with the appropriate files, but it's really quite tricky to get the angles right and the two parts of the cutting edge lined up appropriately. So you could, secondly, take it into a shop. In our case here, Armstrong's, £12 a time. That's what I've done for years. Or in your case, probably Barnfields will do it for a similar amount. Or you could use one of these. This was Emma's Christmas present to me this year. I think they're about £40, so a little bit of an investment, but this is a two-in-one tool that makes sharpening the chainsaw incredibly easy. And I guess a few times not taking it to the shop is going to pay for itself. So let's see how this works. So I've got my saw in the vise and the chain lock is off so it can move around freely. I've got a marker pen, and you'll see that the cutters are lined up alternately, facing you or facing away from you. So you start with the ones that are facing sort of facing away from you, like this. Put a mark on there, and then the tool itself has some very handy pictures on it to help you line up the angles exactly right, and it really couldn't be easier. And it's just a case of putting the file on the first cutter, filing in the same direction, maybe about 5 times, move it along, miss one, do the next, move it along, miss one. And then you come back to the one that you marked, and then you do exactly the same thing but in the other direction. Mark the first one, so there you go. That's how you use that tool. It took me about 2 minutes to do, I guess, and what I'm aiming for is for these cutting edges to be really sort of sharp, almost like a kind of cat's claw, so you can feel them when you touch them with your finger. So there's the what and the how of chainsaw sharpening. Thoroughly recommended. So what about the why? Well, 3 reasons. Firstly, it's going to be quicker. Secondly, it's going to put a lot less strain on you and your body, and it's going to be safer if the saw is sharp. And thirdly, actually, and this is the thing that I think you'll really notice the difference, you'll put a lot less strain and wear and tear on the engine itself, and chainsaw will last longer. So I think it's worth doing. The professionals recommend sharpening on every tank of fuel. I think that's something to aim for. So I hope that's helpful. What, why and how of chainsaw sharpening.